March 7th. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about today. I've said everything you can about all the days of the week. It starts of the month. There's nothing else to say about that. I'm gonna bring Doug in here in a minute. We'll see what he's up to. I have a little workout update that is not that interesting, but tiny small thing. Discord is moving. It is hopping. People are joining. They're participating, socializing, all those things. Doug, how's it going?
Good morning, Matt. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Just hopped in the Discord a little bit this morning. Put some emojis on some people's posts. I wanted to share some more eagle photos. Eagle photos have started to become a little thing in that Discord.
I spent like 20 minutes looking for some eagle photos that I took last summer, and I could not find them anywhere.
When did you have eagles last year? In Black Mountain?
No, I was at a lake. I was on a paddleboard. It was magical, man. I was on a paddleboard, early morning, quiet out, and I see this giant bird come and land in a tree above me, and sure enough, it's an eagle chowing down on some fish.
Yep. Yeah, very good.
So you had them in your backyard, is that right?
There are 4 of them apparently. We've seen, I think there are 2 white-headed ones and then 2 that are juvenile that have darker heads. There's these like ponds behind my house that are kind of dried out little swamps now, and I guess they like it. I don't know. So they're directly in our backyard though. And today there were 2 this morning, 2 big white-headed ones. I guess bald
that's amazing.
Ones. It is amazing. I'm praying that they like nest or whatever. I think it's time for nesting, so I'm just hoping this lasts all year. It would be incredible because it's just like all day. You just look out the back and see eagles in the tree.
Wow, that is wild, man. That is super cool.
Yeah, it is.
Have you ever watched one of those like nesting cams of bald eagles?
Aaron showed me one this morning in California. I guess they're tracking 2 of them and their eggs through the big, very cold winter. I guess
we were watching one this weekend. Eliza and I were watching one this weekend, so probably the same one. And how the male and the female kind of take turns.
Yeah.
Protecting the eggs. I don't know. Just super cool. Those animals.
Yeah, it is super cool. And I read they live to be 20 or 30 years old, or between 20 and 30. They mate for life. They're like good parents and good mates, and they like generally. But apparently, the ones in California, the current husband, I don't think husband's the word, but came and stole the other one from the other husband who she had. So she didn't mate for life. She switched.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know. Aaron kept telling me about them and about this California pair of eagles and their baby or their eggs, that through this hard, cold winter, they had all this footage of them like sitting in the snow, like even the eagle covered in snow, except for its head, trying to protect these eggs. The eggs did not make it, though. They eventually abandoned them. But I was like, well, why is the media following a pair of eagles in California? I still don't understand it. Maybe you can shed some light. Like, why is this eagle cam a thing? Like, why is this news? Doesn't it happen every day? I think it's just in every part of the world.
Well, yeah, of course. I just think it's cool that like I don't know. I don't know anything about this eagle cam. It just came up and Eliza and I started watching it. But I think it's just, how often do you get like that up close of a look at wild eagles, not in a zoo or something like that, but kind of wild eagles and how they mate and how they take care of their eggs and live their life and all that stuff. I don't know. I just think it's kind of a fascinating look at nature.
It is fascinating. Yeah. It just doesn't seem like something that the media would hold people's attention very long. I just feel like people would be like, all right, who cares? But I'm glad it's happening. I like the updates.
There was in DC, we had a couple pandas, giant pandas at the zoo, and one of them was pregnant, and the whole cam for the whole, like, watching her as the weeks before she gave birth, and then the birth, and then the new baby and all this stuff. I mean, it was like people would have it on. I was working in an office at the time. People would have it on like in the corner of their screen so they could just watch this panda for hours.
Like the Truman Show.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking on somebody's life.
Totally transfixed on the panda.
Right.
I forget what the name was, but
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, anyway, that's look at that. The Discord has generated 7 minutes of show content for us already. And I had to work out a few problems yesterday. I fixed the robot issue, although I think we're susceptible right now to nukes or whatever these different spam attacks.
You're not supposed to announce that publicly on a podcast. Yeah.
So I will need to get that fixed. But anyway, it is working. People are not getting kicked out anymore. I made it yesterday, so you can share photos. That's when I put up the eagle picture to see if it worked. So that is happening. People are sharing recipes. It's good. It's a different group of people who are like active there versus who are the ones who are most active in the comments. So I thought that was interesting. Like those who are the incumbents, Mr. Jeffrey, like you're in danger. People could usurp you and become like the new top fan.
Well, a couple of like podcast listeners who said they hadn't ever been able to attend live. I think it's awesome. I'm just super thrilled by this by the showing so far. If you want to join, you can go to nomadathlete.com/discord, DISCORD, and that's the invite link. I see in the comments here on YouTube that Anne-Marie asks if it matters if you aren't verified, and I don't think it does.
I don't think it does. If you can verify, it probably helps make you less likely to be accidentally spam kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Doug? That's wrong. I didn't actually end up deleting that robot. I ended up reinstating him or her or it or whatever it is. And I just turned off the feature that was having them kick out people who failed the verification or something. So you still should verify if you can. I think it might help you just look like a non-suspicious account.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not a big deal. Like we shouldn't make that seem like a big deal. If you're a podcast listener, come into the Discord, because I think some people came after this went live yesterday, or the show did, but not as many as I wanted. Like this thing to me, although great for connecting people who watch the show live, the real potential is if we can activate the 10x more people who are podcast listeners. So that's why this thing's there. It's largely for you. So please come to that. It's nomadathlete.com/discord, and you'll get in. But like there aren't problems now with like the bots and the verification. It's easy. You just come in and you're part of it. So
set up an account and figure it out with us. And I don't know. It's going to be super fun. It's going to continue to grow and develop, I think, as we build out more channels or whatever. But I am excited. I'm very excited. Yeah. And it corresponds perfectly with the shout out that I want to make that I don't think you recognized, or maybe you don't even know. I was looking at some podcast stuff today for Nomad Athlete Radio that someone was asking me about, and happened to notice that last week, it looks like, was our highest download week of the podcast. This podcast, really? Plant-Based Morning Show.
This one. Okay, I think I know athlete. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. We just don't do anything. And then
No, so Plant-Based Morning Show is continuing to grow, and that's I love it week over week.
Nice. I did not know that. Good.
So,
good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I think this Discord can be a huge part. Like I said before, it's very basic right now, but soon we can make it way more tailored to like being a Discord for a show, like that would have I think you said questions of the day, Doug, or like suggested reels. Like I'm saying, we got a little area for that. So it'll be cool. I just please go in there, tell us, give us suggestions. There's a whole channel for suggestions. But it will be a really nice way to like make this thing a lot more dimensional than it currently is, this show. All right, good. Here's my workout announcement. It's really not much. I was just so sore yesterday because I over the weekend tested Romanian deadlifts. You know what those are, Doug?
No idea.
It's where I don't know the difference between a Romanian deadlift and a stiff-legged deadlift. It may be the same, but you only pick the weight up off the floor the first time. And then after that, you are only bending at the waist and sort of keeping your legs. They're not stiff. They're just, you're holding the bar, you bend at the waist until the bar is about your shin height, just like, top of your shin. It's not on the floor. And then you stand back up again. So it's just a big hamstring, hitter. It just nails your hamstrings. So I tested that on Saturday. I've been doing deadlifts all year, but it just killed me. I was like barely walking yesterday. So I was like, I thought, you know what? I started this thing on Sunday, like the whole workout. This would be a perfect time to just take a day off. And which is funny because I just talked about it and said, well, I can see this happening. And then sure enough, at the end of the day yesterday, I was like, I might just skip today.
Did you?
No, I ended up doing, pretty lame. I did a set of pull-ups with a little weight, a kettlebell on my foot. And I did some ab wheel rollouts. It probably took 6 minutes, the whole thing. So it was my lamest.
That's something though. You did something.
It was something. It was movement. It was definitely far below the minimum of what I've accepted before this or during this year. So I don't know. I think it won't be long till I'm just done with that little streak. But if so, fine. It served me very well. I got about 2.5 months of consecutive workouts. and hopefully I'll keep it up. But if not, I'm on to this new program that I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I wouldn't beat yourself up about it too much. I think you did something. You moved a little bit. You're on this different program. Your program has shifted. The daily streak has transformed into something that is a little bit more difficult, a little more powerful. So,
Mhm.
I'm okay with it. Just as long as you keep
All right.
that thing up.
All right, appreciate that, Doug.
Yeah, I'm not
Glad to
going
know
to
I
give you a
have
hard time.
your blessing.
I know that's what you're looking for here.
It is. I mean,
Um,
kind of is. I've been talking about it on this show a lot, so to hear
Yeah.
that it's still valid, it's good.
I to segue into something else we have to talk about. We have to announce our athletic brewing winner.
That's right. We forgot to do that
giveaway
yesterday because of the
on
Discord.
yeah we forgot, but we said it was from Friday. Anyway, last night I went over to my local VFW.
Oh, you
to-
go there much?
well, it's right down the street from me, and one of my better friends is the I think it's called the commander of the VFW,
Okay.
the local chapter here. So I go down sometimes. It generally, I'm not a vet. I'm not in any way, shape, or form. But I'm allowed to go in and have some beers, and they have super cheap beer, and so I'll go down and have beer with him from time to time. Anyway, they're repainting the inside. He asked if I could come. Yeah, he recruited a couple of the guys to come and help, and it would have been the perfect opportunity to just have several beers and paint late at night with
Yeah.
a bunch of guys at a VFW. And you know what I chose instead?
What?
Athletic Brewing. I
They
was
had it on
really
tap?
proud of myself.
They had it there?
They had it.
Wow.
And
Well, that
I
is
was
fun.
actually a little disappointed because last time I was there, they had Heineken 0.0, and
Ah,
I was excited to try that because I definitely
right.
didn't try it last time I was there.
Right.
And but they didn't. They had switched over to Athletic, like the Athletic IPA.
What would possess you to do that? To not get a regular beer when you're there with a bunch of vets painting? I mean, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I
I
don't
just don't think I'd
know.
ever do it. I think I'd always say, "Well, I'm out. This is an experience. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna."
I don't
I
know.
mean, I've never had a non-alcoholic beer out ever. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was Monday,
Right. True.
and I was waking up. I had to wait. I didn't have to. I woke up at 5 this morning to run. And I didn't really, I was already kind of going to be late, so I was going to be a little groggy because we didn't get started till like 8 p.m. And so I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things. It's like this will be a much better life decision if I don't drink tonight. But
Good for
I don't
you.
know. And part of it was also like kind of being stubborn with myself. Like you're not going to drink tonight. You're gonna choose the non-alcoholic beer.
Good.
So then I just
You know
went
what
for it.
that is? That's your cold plunge discipline muscle has
Oh
started
yeah,
has started
That's
happening,
right.
and now it's saying you're going to do hard things. I mean, it's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
I can
Well,
use some of
good.
that. I like it.
Yeah.
I tried. So I love Athletic Brewing. I've really gotten into the Brute IPA. Did we talk about this on the show yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I never got into
Well, you
Brute
said
IPA.
you tried it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when Brute IPA was a popular trending beer style, I never got into it. But for some reason, this Athletic Brute IPA I really like. But I tried. I have the coladas in my fridge still. From when Helen sent me them. That must have been.
Coladas? I don't think I had that one.
It's like I think it's Michelada or Michelada. I don't know how
Oh,
to say it.
okay. Like a
Um,
Mexican, like with.
Yeah, and I've never even maybe I've had one of those in like I don't know in the proper I don't know at a pool or something. I had one of these things, and I didn't have tomato juice in it. It was just like a beer with a lime and some jalapeno or something or salt. I don't know what it was, but it was pretty good. But I tried this. I just haven't really had the taste for it, and I didn't like it at all. It was it's like all this tomato juice in there. Like it tastes like you're drinking a can of tomato juice to me. I
Wow.
could see how on a really hot day you might say this is pretty good.
Or like a brunch beer, right?
I don't know. I guess is that. I mean, I guess like a Bloody Mary. Which
Yeah,
I
I
never,
mean
see, I never make
that's the
those.
only reason I say that is the association of tomato juice
I mean,
with.
it's definitely a daytime beer. It's like out in the hot sun. I think often at a
Okay.
pool or something, you'd have one of these. Very like refreshing with. But I can't drink tomato juice. It just never had V8 or been able to drink a V8. Never tried Bloody Mary. Maybe I've sipped it, but as much as I love tomatoes, I am not interested in drinking tomato juice. I don't know why. I just can't. So this was a lot like tomato juice. I could see it being good, but this was like that thing where on the weekend, if I don't want to have, or if I'm thinking about having an extra drink, I say no. I'm going to have a non-alcoholic beer instead. that's when I did it, and it was like completely the wrong time for Michelada or Michelada, whatever it is. So, maybe in the right context would have been good. But anyway, but Athletic Brewing, terrific. It's probably the only one I haven't liked, and it's not even a beer. It's a drink cocktail thing. But
the Brut, you're a fan of the Brut?
Yeah, like the Brut a whole lot. Still love Lodge Life, even though it's getting a little bit warm weather for it. But I still like that one a whole lot. I like their stout. And they're all good. I like all of them now. I'm a fan of Athletic Brewing for sure.
Are you a fan of like Brut IPAs in general, like alcoholic versions?
No, that's what I said. Like I don't, are they still popular? I remember a couple years ago they were like the big thing that everyone was making, and I never saw the point. I just didn't get it. I didn't think it tasted like champagne or anything.
I like them. I've always liked them. Mitch Jeffrey says Brut IPA and cold IPAs. The cold IPA thing. That whole thing is weird.
I don't know what that is. What's that mean?
It's the way you brew it. I think you brew it in
like a lager process.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Well, IPLs are really good, but that actually is a lager. India Pale Lager, where they just hop up a lager. Those are good. Crisp,
I don't know if I've
delicious.
All right, Mr. Steven wants to know what's your stance on.
Who's Mr. Steven?
Mr. Steven. Steven Dunn wants to know what your stance is on gazpacho.
It's in the problem area for me. It's fine, but I can't really, the coldness of soup and drinking of soup, I just don't. I don't know. I have trouble with that. People who drink soups out of thermos, to me, you're a different species than I am. I can't.
Even if it's warm?
Yeah, like I don't drink food. I just don't.
Smoothie?
Yeah, but that's like different. That's a drink. Yeah, this is an inconsistent argument on my part for sure. But I don't know what it is. I can't do it. But if in the right environment, I'm happily find a way to drink or eat whatever gazpacho.
That would be something I would very rarely cook, but in the right environment. You're out at a restaurant and a hot restaurant sitting outside, you have a little bowl of gazpacho or something like that. Sounds great.
Yep. All right, Doug, why don't you announce our beer winner so that we can get on with the show?
Get on with the show. The winner for the non-alcoholic beer is Allie Penn at
Allie Penn
at ALEYPEN on Instagram. Okay. Private account, so don't follow her unless you want to.
Again, she just won't. She'll just reject you.
But congratulations, Allie.
Yeah, definitely. So we can DM you, Allie, if you're not listening, and then you get to pick 2 6-packs from Athletic Brewing as long as you don't live in one of those restricted states. So if somehow Allie does live in one of those, we'll come back and we'll draw a new winner.
And what's Helen's code?
Helen D20, HELEND, as in DeGenero 20. And that'll get you 20% off your first order, and it'll give Helen credit for referring you.
Sweet.
Yeah. So thank you,
Doug.
Thank you, Helen. There you go. So thank you, Helen, and thank you, Athletic Brewing. And thanks everyone for entering.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to get into some show content?
Weather reports. Over to you, Matt. How's the
weather?
All
right. I put this together and then I didn't really rehearse it or anything. Didn't go through the rigorous rehearsal process that usually these do. So we'll see what happens. We talked earlier about how Aldi had planned to do away with a bunch of meat, move toward plant-based. Well, now we talked about how Lidl had done that. And now, see, here we go. Problems already. Following Lidl's lead, Aldi has announced its plant-based expansion on a significant scale, stating it will offer more than 1,000 products in its plant-based range by the end of next year. So that's kind of cool. Way to go. Aldi's had some problems, I think, with animal cruelty issues among their suppliers. So this is a good step for them to try to right the ship. We've talked a good bit about the labeling stuff. Well, now the Italian government has become the latest in a growing list of those proposing restricted labeling on plant-based meat, to restrict plant-based meats from using meaty terms. And ProVeg, who we talk about now and then, I think we've got a listener or two who works for ProVeg. They describe this as misleading and backwards. They basically think that because plant-based foods are so much better for the environment, that there should be sort of that this should be taken into account when these sort of decisions are made. I don't know if I agree with that. I think more it's just about how much confusion there is, and it appears that there's not confusion by consumers. But maybe in Italy it's different than what we're seeing here, because I don't know where these studies have been done. I assume, since we read about them, that they're U.S. studies that demonstrate that consumers are not confused by meat or dairy terms on their plant-based items. But in a place like Italy, maybe the meat's a bigger part of the food culture, and it is confusing. I don't know, but ProVeg doesn't like it. Cargill, this is from Veg News. Animal agriculture giant, agribusiness giant Cargill is getting deeper into plant-based protein with a new partnership it entered with startup Cubic Foods. That's CUBIQ. They specialize in innovating fat technologies for use in plant-based meats and other animal-free foods, including cultivated meat. So interesting that a meat giant is headed that way. But it's not the first time Cargill has done this. They launched the brand Plant Ever, a plant-based protein brand in China, after a successful trial of their plant-based nuggets in KFC in China. And they also have launched that same year in 2021 a line of co-branded products with Lawson, a Japanese chain. I assume that's the big Lawson that we see sells frozen foods in the U.S. I'm not sure, though. But that included vegan scallops and chicken tenders. So I don't know. It's interesting when these huge meat brands jump into this plant-based space. It's sort of, I think it's sort of the anti like Miyoko's approach, or Miyoko herself approach, where she wants to stay fully vegan and remain true to these vegan ideals. Clearly, these large meat companies don't have that at all. They don't care at all about the animal suffering. I mean, from looks of it, they don't care at all about that, and it's about money. But you got to be excited when they start putting that kind of clout and resources towards plant-based food, even if it's still a small part of their portfolio.
Yeah.
Finally,
go ahead. We'll talk about it later.
All right. Finally, supermarket giant ASDA, I think also known as Asda in the UK, has stopped sourcing its own brand of coconut milk from Thailand. There was a probe by PETA into the use of monkeys in the country's coconut industry and unearthed, quote, rampant abuse. PETA is urging the retailer to stop stocking any kind of coconut milk from Thailand, but ASDA does not plan on doing that just yet, but they are going to change the source of their own brand of coconut milk. This can.
Interesting. Are they using monkeys to collect the coconuts?
Yes, I think so. And I mean, there are more details I didn't go into, but one is like one trainer was filmed dangling a screaming monkey by the neck and getting struck by a tether.
Oh God.
That must not be the trainer who's getting struck by the tether, but the monkey. So a little bit of a wrong sentence there. But another remained chained alone in the sun with no access to water. So horrible. Yeah, I mean, I assume they're using the monkeys to collect the coconuts. But yeah, I mean, it's terrible. So, I mean, that's a good reason to not get coconut milk from Thailand, right? It's not, you don't have to just listen to ASDA and follow whatever they're doing with their store brand. You can yourself not buy coconut milk from Thailand, and I think it's pretty obvious. I'm pretty sure the red cans that I always get, those, Doug, of canned coconut milk?
Yes.
They're like red with black writing on them.
Yeah.
It's called Thai Kitchen. I'm guessing that's from Thailand, and therefore I will not get that again.
Good to know.
I'm not sure. I'll have to confirm that it is from Thailand. So yeah, there you go.
It's not. It's a lawsuit in waiting.
That's right. We could sue them for the name Thai.
Uh-huh.
I like that. All right. So what were you going to say, Doc? What was your question?
Well, so I was going to say, I mean, you don't strike me as someone who votes with their dollar so much. I mean, maybe a little bit like what you were just saying with the Thailand, but where you would avoid supporting a business that maybe didn't have the same values as you do.
No, I think I like capitalism a lot. So I think if they can provide a really good value without a bunch of externalities, and I hope that the government would tax those externalities or otherwise disincentivize them, like something that is hurting monkeys or something. Yeah, I'm all for big businesses. but not if they're not good, right? If they're evil corporations, then like I would be much less interested in buying the cultivated meat from this company that also has 95% of its business regular animal agriculture, for sure. I'd rather
Yeah.
buy that from a smaller company, even if it costs more, if that smaller company is vegan.
Yeah.
But in general, I think the scale achievable by those and the mainstream they can reach is a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, I don't have anything against big companies either, or making money. But yeah, so that was kind of my question. Is like, and you just answered it. Is would we rather see? Is it better to see all these meat companies, like Cargill or Tyson or something like that, kind of going into the plant-based meat world? They have all this infrastructure, they have all this funding, they have distribution, they have all this they have a leg up on everything, right? Kind of, is it better to see them going in and potentially getting a lot more of the plant-based foods out into the world in a much easier way than a new startup would? Or like, do we want to see kind of homegrown companies that become, maybe big, like Miyoko's, that have a certain set of values where, your money might not be partially going towards, something that doesn't, that we don't agree with.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, great. I don't know which one's better. I think it's great if they both succeed, because then those of us who are really vegan and care a lot about that can support those companies, and let the non-vegan companies that are doing vegan foods, let them also get picked. The thing is, though, like, it's good to support them, right? Like when we see, for example, when Burger King does Impossible Whopper, obviously they're selling a whole lot more regular meat than Impossible Whoppers.
Yeah, sure.
But we still say, like, hey, let's go support so that we can make sure they see that this is
something people want.
This, right? So I don't know how you decide there. And it's also not good if those big companies then squeeze out the small companies that have the values you care more about. And that happens, right? I said capitalism, and that's what happens. So yeah, I don't know how to choose a winner there, but obviously they both can serve different groups. So hopefully they can both exist and find those groups.
Yeah, I think so. But
I think
I'm more drawn towards, like you said, paying a little bit more towards a company that I would agree with, or that has the same values.
For sure. But I just think, like, I don't know. I just think the scale, like, just the orders of magnitude larger those huge companies are.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Really
like if Cargill wants to put out a vegan nugget, like, they can probably get it in every single grocery store without a problem, right? I mean,
yeah.
But if we had the most delicious vegan nugget ever that we were creating, it would be years before we could get into most grocery stores.
Right.
And so, so for a large corporation to then be able to have that leg up, I mean, that the potential of kind of rapid growth or rapid usage adoption from communities is very big.
Yeah, right. And I think I think there certainly is a subset of people who see the big company and say they boycott that, they organize boycotts and say, no, do not support that company because they do this. But I think that's, I don't know. I mean, obviously judgment call, values, obviously, who knows what's right. But yeah, I just think, I don't know. I think it's idealistic to think that it's gonna be all these little companies and none of the big ones.
I mean, that is true. That is true. But at the same time, like, I mean, your money is your money, right? I mean, if you want it to go towards little companies that maybe only have
nothing wrong with spending your money. Exactly. And I think that's a good way to have it, right? But I'm just saying, I don't think we should be against these big companies doing this.
Yeah, right. It is good. It is a good thing. I think it is a good thing for these companies to be exploring the space and growing quickly, and expanding that. Yeah,
definitely. All right. So let's move on here, Doug. We've got honestly not that much interesting right now. I did cruise through Best Life Online. I don't have any articles from them today, but I did identify a pattern. Here's what they do. They put out the type of articles that we like, right? We know that, and I don't know how to categorize those, but they're good. I mean, those are good articles.
List posts about cancer.
Well, that's another one. Another one is cancer. They're big on cancer in headlines like that. They must have identified that as a clickbaitable thing. Zodiac signs, like today they had Zodiac sign is the biggest foodie. We did last week the one about what your zodiac sign says about your beer choice. But Bianca's, I was looking, I think Bianca told me she's a Libra. Is that a thing? Is that a zodiac sign? It is, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I think she said that, not a Leo, as someone had guessed. But Libra was not the top foodie. I was thinking it would be. It's not even in the top 6 foodies. Anyway, I don't remember what it was, but I just noticed that Bianca was not. So they do that. They do a lot of what happens if, like I have today. What happens if you don't wash your water bottle for a month, according to doctors? They always put according to doctors or according to experts. Yeah, I know. And it made me think about those old Nalgene bottles that mine used to just smell terrible. And I guess the metal bottles don't smell as bad, and maybe they're more antibacterial because they never smell like those old Nalgenes did.
Do you go months without washing your water bottle?
No, but I think in that era, I definitely would go like a couple weeks sometimes. Just I don't know. And I realized I forgot all about those Nalgenes. Remember everyone had them, the clear plastic bottles with the huge mouth. And then there was the big BPA scare that came out, and everyone replaced their Nalgene with new BPA-free Nalgene bottles. But like I don't ever see those anymore. Maybe
I still use them. I use them all the time.
That brand still?
Yeah, Nalgene BPA-free bottles. I don't like. It's not my go-to if I am. Well, I mean, I don't know. I use it all the time. I mean, I like if I'm going for a run or something, I need a water bottle for the car for when I'm done. Mm-hmm. It's always a Nalgene, pretty much.
I see. We have like the stainless steel bottles that have replaced the plastic ones for us. I don't know why. Not any reason. I just see them a lot more.
They're so much lighter than the stainless steel ones. Well, I mean, like than the insulated versions.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, they do a lot of what happens if you don't, do this basic thing. Don't wash your hands after going to the bathroom. Don't brush your teeth before bed. Don't wash your bra for a month. It's just, so they just have this formula. I would just love to talk to their content people and say and find out what's the list of things they've identified. This works, and then we can steal it. I don't know. I just think it's fun.
Well, I mean, how do we know that it's really working for Best Life? I guess we're talking about it.
I mean, it seems like it's come out of nowhere for me. They're just like a huge media force now. All right. Anyway, back to more familiar topics or familiar publications. Doug, the Washington Post, your favorite, balanced, fair reporting, says, want to live a longer life? Try eating like a centenarian. And this, of course, is a Blue Zones article. We've also got a Blue Zones article that your mom sent, which I found one interesting tidbit from CNN.com. No, nothing against. I'm just saying. No, but I don't know. This one has more like actual tips. This Washington Post one, but the one from your mom does have an interesting point I wanted to share.
I like this GIF at the top. Oh, almond.
I didn't even see that.
If you look at the screen.
Oh yeah, the hand opening the almonds. Yeah, or cashews. So Blue Zones has done like a media blitz because for the past 3 months, whenever I Google plant-based diet news to start the show research for the day, I get a new article with Dan Buettner on Yahoo something, Yahoo Finance, Yahoo Health, whatever. And it's just constant. Like I think every week has been a new article roughly. So I don't know what kind of deal they made with them, the publisher, but they've done a great job of getting that message to mainstream sources. Here they are on Washington Post and CNN. So it just keeps coming up, which is great. I think it's to me, it is the best of the diet ideas that is out there right now. And I'm really glad it is taking hold and they've got the resources to get it out to these sources. It's sort of flexitarian, it's sort of Mediterranean, although this is actually the point from your mom's article that is worth mentioning. It said, sorry, I'm dropping it. Here we go. People in the Blue Zones don't eat nearly as much fish as the Mediterranean diet prescribes, only 3 times a week and only 3 ounces, he said. Meat is eaten only 5 times a month. There's no cow's milk in any Blue Zones. So that's interesting because I think a lot of people say Mediterranean, or me, I say Blue Zones, that's roughly Mediterranean. Same basic idea. But that's a really important distinction, and it matches longevity diet, which, like the Blue Zones, is based on longevity. And that's from Walter Longo, the guy who does Prolon fasting and all that stuff. He says eat vegan plus seafood 2 to 3 times a week, and that's it. And then I think he says some like goat's milk maybe or something like that. But that very closely matches what Dan Buettner is saying here. That this is not a Mediterranean diet. It's not fish every day, and meat 5 times a month. That's about once per week, just slightly more, and no cow's milk. So
that mean no cheese?
No, they eat goat and sheep's milk cheeses. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
next line,
that's the next
such as
line. Yeah.
feta, pecorino. Yeah, and I think other cheeses as well. Maybe it's just goat and sheep. I just always assumed there was a bunch of animals making cheeses, but maybe that's wrong. Yeah, so I don't know what it is about cow's milk or cow's cheeses, why that is like lower in nutritional quality than these. Obviously, once you get big animal agriculture involved, and it probably is much more involved with cows than it is in goats and cheese or goats and sheep, just much more mass production. You get some badness from that, of course, but I don't know. I don't know if there's something like fundamental to cow's milk that is different. Maybe it's meant to grow much larger animals than sheep and goats, and that's partly why it's not associated with health. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So like, if you're eating standard American diet and you sort of tend towards Mediterranean, think you're eating a healthy diet, which I think a lot of people probably do that. If they were to make these 3 changes, right? Less fish, less meat, and get them in line with these frequencies and no cow's milk, I think that would be a massive improvement in your health. Like you'd then be eating pretty close to, one of the what I think is the best diet in the world, instead of something that's not that.
Yes, very cool. Very
so thank you, Doug's mom.
Thank you, Betsy. Yeah,
Betsy. I did notice in the article there's a subheadline: 9 common traits of blue zones. Did you see this? And there's no mention of any of that after that.
Where's that?
This is CNN.com, by the way, for anyone else. Live longer with these dishes from Blue Zones in America. And I guess they're talking about the Blue Zones American Kitchen book, which is about American things. Yeah, like the subhead, right? I don't know, 2 paragraphs into the article: 9 common traits of Blue Zones.
Oh yeah, that's funny. And there's that's funny.
Yeah, and then there's anyway. Back to the Washington Post. There are some useful tips, and this is just, I mean, we talk about Blue Zones a lot, but it's worth, I don't know, whenever you get a good practical thing. So here are some more tips. Obviously, I'm hoping most people listening to this are already doing those basics of not eating much fish or any fish if you're vegan, not eating meat very often or ever, and not eating cow's milk, maybe even not any milk. Here's a way to go a little further, though. According to Washington Post article on Blue Zones, eat a cup of beans, peas, or lentils every day. I hear this more and more. Dan Buettner has taken this around to a lot of Instagram shows, Instagram lives and things, this advice: to eat a cup of these very protective, health-giving foods. Chickpeas count, of course. I think they fall in the peas category, maybe. But a cup a day, I feel like I eat a lot. I don't know if I eat a cup a day. It's a lot. It's a large amount of beans. Yesterday I made a pot of beans, had a large scoop of them before I had this other thing, green beans and tomatoes that I made. But I don't know if I got a cup. And I feel like, I don't know, it's hard to get a cup of beans a day. What about you, Doug? You do that? Put that in your tacos?
I don't know. I'm trying to decide if so last night we had spaghetti with white beans and olives and spinach. I know
a can's a cup and a half, by the way.
A cup and a half. Okay. Yeah, maybe that is. I don't know. But then, like, I also ate some hummus. Does that count? Like,
yeah, I mean, that counts. Who knows how much is in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, as long as you're in the ballpark, I think you're good. And I think I'm in the ballpark, but I just have a feeling most days I probably don't get over a cup. Would be my guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's they talk about soybeans, part of the traditional diet in Okinawa, fava beans in Sardinia. I wish I had a good fava bean source. I don't probably could order
fava
them.
Beans.
Rancho Gordo never sends any fava beans, unfortunately. I don't ever get fresh fava beans in the farmer's market, although maybe I could if I went to more farmer's markets. I went to one this weekend, by the way. It was kind of nice. Black beans in Nisoya, that'd be your department, Doug. The black beans. So yeah, they're all the Blue Zones. A lot of beans being consumed. And he says 1 cup gives you half of all the daily fiber you need, but that's not the reason to eat them. There's so much more than that. Number 2 tip, a little bit related to yesterday's, although maybe peanuts. Do peanuts count as beans? I don't know. They are legumes.
There you go.
Eat a handful of nuts daily. That's tip number 2 here. I don't think peanuts count in this, but I'm really not sure. No, I don't think they do, because they're saying grab a handful of almonds, walnuts, cashews, or pistachios. Obviously, many more tree nuts, less common than those, but not peanuts. That I don't think counts there. But They mentioned a study in the JAMA Internal Medicine tracked 31,000 Seventh-day Adventists, found that those who ate nuts more than 4 times per week were 51% less likely to suffer a heart attack and 48% less likely to die of heart disease than their peers who ate nuts no more than once per week. And keep in mind, the Seventh-day Adventists, that's one of the blue zones, and they already live a long time there. So to be among a group that lives 51%
Longer than the long time. Yeah.
right, then yeah. So nuts, I mean, there's all this debate about are they a health food or not. To me, no brainer, they are a health food. Maybe certain people, if you're trying to lose weight or you're really worried about heart disease, maybe you should kind of restrict how much you eat. And they don't, I don't think say an amount in that study because it does help. You know, it's protective against heart disease in this case. But you know, Esselstyn would say no to nuts for heart disease. Okay. So I don't know if there's an upper limit where it becomes unhealthful. I suspect there's actually not, but I don't know.
I mean, certainly if you're worried about calories, right?
If it's a weight gain issue, then yes, yeah, you can definitely get a lot. But I mean, for heart disease, is too many nuts bad? I'm not sure. The number I always quote is that I forget where it's from. I think I read it in Joel Fuhrman's Super Immunity, likely maybe read it in Dr. Greger's How Not to Die, that a quarter cup of nuts per day, and not every day, but most days, had been found to extend life by about 2 years, extend lifespan, just on average. So I don't know where it was from or what the study was, but nuts are a very good food, and people should be eating more. I think you should try to eat them raw if you can, but like I said yesterday, they're not raw in the United States. They're pasteurized. At least almonds are. And I assume that goes for all nuts, but I don't know.
What about lightly salted?
I think it's good. I think most people who watch and this is just my opinion, I think people who if you just look at natural food, like food by itself that like people would eat if they were just eating a diet to sustain themselves, like ancestrally, it's like 500 to 800 milligrams of salt in a day. And most of us, I think the recommended daily amount is like 2,500 or so for us by our government. So if you get up near that, I think you're getting way too much. But you know, if you're in general someone who doesn't eat much salt or doesn't eat a lot of processed foods or eat out in restaurants a lot, where that's where you really get the salt, then I think lightly salted, if it makes you eat more nuts, I think is probably an okay thing.
Yeah, I think that's what's attractive about it to me is that I if I have like totally plain cashews, versus some lightly salted cashews or almonds, something like that, I'm way more likely to eat the salted version and eat way more of them. You know, as I'm kind of looking for a quick snack or something like that, I'll just, I don't know, just kind of hits a craving that that the unsalted doesn't. So I tend to choose it more often than.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Blue Diamond brand that actually has lightly salted? Or you just
I
think a lot of brands say that.
Yeah.
Because Blue Diamond, who makes all the flavored nuts and things, they make lightly salted almonds that I think are just really good. I'm not a huge almond fan, but theirs are good, and lightly's better than a lot of salt. I mean, what you just said about salt, I agree with, and I also the same goes for roasted versus raw. Raw almonds, I think, are so healthy, although not actually raw, but close. But I don't know. I can't eat those. I mean, I just can't eat like a lot of them at all. They're just not very good.
Yep.
So anyway, I think if you make them a little more palatable, it's a good thing. Yeah. All right, this one I have trouble with. Eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. You like that, Doug?
You eat all your meals like a pauper, right? So
yeah. No, I mean, I guess kind of, but that's not really what they're saying there. I don't think they're saying. What I'm talking about is the peasant food idea, and I know some people don't like the term peasant cooking. It's still what people call it. But yeah, there was I think someone in Born to Run said eat like a poor person was their advice. And what they meant was eat beans and grains and things that don't come in packages. And the cheap foods are often, now if you're not doing processed foods, the cheap foods are very healthy. But I think what they're saying here is eat a whole lot for breakfast, eat a medium amount for lunch, and eat a very small dinner. And I don't really do that.
Big breakfast at 10 and a moderate lunch at 4. And then you're done for the day.
Yeah, that's the Seventh-day Adventist that he's talking about here. And and that's pretty hard. That also involves kind of skipping a meal. I don't know which one you're really skipping there, but we've heard that skipping a meal is not good.
Right.
So I don't know how they're getting around that there, but they are because they live a long time. Um, yeah, and then they also talk about the importance of eating together and a family. People. Where is it? Oh, sorry, no, my bad. That's a later. That's the next tip. But I have
Mm.
trouble reconciling this with that. Right? Like, to me, the family together meal is dinner time. We don't not going to do that for
Is
breakfast.
dinner, sure.
Yeah, our daughter's gone by 6:40. She's out the door. Um, and then lunch, we're not all together. So dinner is it, if that. So like that's time to have a little feast, right? Like enjoy the time, be grateful for the day and this nature's bounty.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about this one. There's just so much conflicting information around
Yeah.
how how frequently you should eat and how much time downtime you should have in between meals and how big of meals versus small meals. I don't know. There's just like I feel like every time you read an article about nutrition, there's some sort of advice. And it's always different. So um,
Yeah. And what draws me to the Blue Zones research is that so much of it is about long-term health outcomes and like we find people who lived a long time and we see what they
mhm,
did. And that's
mhm.
not the most science. There's you can criticize that method of science in some context, but I think in this one it's really good. We don't focus then on mechanisms and say in theory this eating pattern is good. We just say this is what these people do who live a really long time, and if they tend to do this,
Yeah.
then I tend to think it's one we can kind of listen to. Um, but yeah, I mean, and I also think there's if we're just and this is theory more than like this is what works, but I think we don't have enough randomness in our eating patterns, right? We eat
Mm.
exact same times, and if you think about how we probably evolved to eat, it was unexpected times when you'd get a whole lot of food, and then long times when you wouldn't have any food, and so to go through that routine is probably better than like very strict meal times, very regular eating.
Mhm.
Likely. So I don't really know. But again, that's not based on theory. That's just or sorry, that is sort of a theory, not based on any evidence.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Last one here. Eat meals with your family, and they say they eat at least one daily meal together. Typically, their midday meal or their last meal of the day. So the midday meal, that'd be a really nice time to do that if our culture was aligned around that, but it's not. People are not home for the midday meal like they are in
Yep.
some countries. They come home from school for that or from work for that. Um, but people, let's say they say if you eat together, you tend to eat more nutritiously. The children end up eating more fruits and vegetables when families cook food and eat it at home, and therefore are less likely to develop obesity, which is definitely a problem among kids these days. So yeah, that's good. And they somewhere else they mentioned just the social. Maybe it was the other article. Social component that is always where I fall short with the Blue Zones. And Bianca actually said the same thing to me. She's done the Blue Zones challenge. This is when I guess you were out, Doug, and we had Bianca
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this
that's right.
Friday.
But I remember listening to that because I did
Yeah,
listen to it.
yeah, and she said she's done this Blue Zones challenge, which is one of their books. They have a little 30-day program, and she said the food part was pretty easy. It's these things of making the effort to call people or arrange
Yeah.
to meet with people. Like that's the challenging part, and I think that's probably true for a lot of people. Certainly for me, that's the part I do least well. Whereas the food is relatively easy once you're used to that way of eating.
Mhm.
So there you go. That's
Yeah,
that's
I
the
think
Blue Zones reminder.
we we eat dinner as a family. Assuming we're all home, we eat dinner as a family every night together. We actually eat breakfast as a family every day together too. But breakfasts are often a little more chaotic. Somebody maybe isn't happy to go to school or whatever. We're kind of a little bit more rushed. So there's
Hmm.
maybe there's some books involved, something like that. But like we're trying to get better at sitting at dinner, like not just being together for dinner while you eat, because kids can rush food and whatever, and you
Yep.
might only have 10 or 15 minutes, but like actually carving out time to sit together and be together at a table as a family without some big activity that's happening. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard with kids. Um, but we're actively working on that because I think that there's just so much value in that as a family. I don't know about long-term health. I'm sure there is for that too, but and happiness and all that stuff. But just as a family, I feel like it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. It sure is. Um, yeah, we've done a pretty good job. Recently, we've been really bad because of soccer practices and things,
Hmm.
largely just because of soccer practice, really. Uh, but for a long time, I was very good about that. We always did family dinner, and people weren't allowed to skip it or
Mhm.
work during it or whatever. It's good. It's a good habit for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a few comments here. A little bit about Nalgene's. I'll skip that. Jackie Anderson's here, podcast listener, excited to catch a live recording. Hello, Jackie. Thank you for
Hello,
joining
Jackie.
us, despite she's dealing with a stomach virus. So that's no good. Don't like that. Mr. Jeffrey said, amazing how these tips are the literal opposite of a paleo diet. I guess that would have been probably the eating meat.
The nuts and the meat and the legumes, the beans.
Right. Yeah, or just the eating less meat, less fish, less cow milk.
Mhm.
Although I think paleo doesn't like milk either. We should try to keep up with these comments while we're going. I always forget to. Anne-Marie says the nuts have helped her keep weight on. So hard to get enough calories on a whole food plant-based diet. Yeah, that is true for a lot of people. That a calorically dense source is a good thing. Mr. Jeffrey corrects me here. Only almonds are required to be pasteurized. Mr. Jeffrey knows a lot of these facts somehow. Always.
He does.
Yeah, maybe he Googles or chat GTPs while we're talking. But anyway, that's a very good point. It makes me think I should try some raw nuts that are truly raw, like cashews or something. Aren't cashews like themselves? Oh, I think it's just the harvesting process is not
the harvesting. Yeah.
Yeah. But the raw ones, they don't have any of the residue of that on there, that stuff, whatever it is.
I don't think so. I think it's the outer shell that would keep the. Well, it doesn't actually make sense because you want the animal to eat it. But I don't know. Not sure. We buy raw almonds or raw cashews for when we make our cashew cream and stuff.
Yeah, that's why we have it too. And they're not that good to eat. I mean, they're okay, but roasted way better. All right, Jill says raw nuts are also harder to digest. I didn't know that. I typically opt for roasted and slightly salted, but use raw in cooking and baking. Yeah, that's what we do. Steven says, I have this on in the background. It has real NMA radio vibes. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's just that last article we did, but not totally surprising there. Same two hosts, same general topic. Yeah, if only NMA radio people would come embrace this show, they wouldn't need to worry about not having any episodes over there.
That's right.
Oh, Mr. Jeffrey was a chef for 12 years. I did not know that.
I did. You didn't know he was a chef?
No.
I mean, I wouldn't have known 12 years, but a long-time chef. Yeah. That's how we know so much about food and non-vegan food.
Yeah, I missed that somehow. And Jackie says she met, I guess, me probably at VegFest 2014. I've been a fan for a long time, so that shout out made her day. That's cool. 2014, would that have been both of us, Doug? I don't know. Man, what VegFest have we been going to then? We went to New York together in 2012.
New York.
You and I.
We did
DC
together a couple times.
That was 20. We definitely did 2013 DC, and before that probably.
DC, yeah.
Oh, DC.
We did a couple of DCs, I think.
Yeah, I just don't remember. I don't remember 2014. Who knows? Maybe it could have been 2013. Jackie's, because if it was, it would have been both of us there. It was just maybe it was earlier.
It was a big memory for her. Maybe a year.
We have a picture of the troll at 2013.
Yeah.
That was good. And then I went up to his hotel and we recorded his podcast in my early Rich Roll appearance.
That's right. I didn't get invited to be part of that podcast. So I'm still a little bitter about it.
Well, someone had to man the table. Someone had to sell those shirts.
Oh yeah, had to hawk the shirts.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. I think that's it. Another shout out here. Let's put the Discord name up on the screen. Normeathlete.com/Discord. That's where you want to go. That's where the action is. People are coming there, and I think today is going to be a good day for that Discord. We'll see, but it's we can confidently say it is working now, and you can come join in and again suggest things that you want in there. Like I don't know what to do to make a good community site. I don't want it to be too many channels, like I said, but if you have ideas for fun stuff, there's all kinds of things we could add: trivia bots, birthday bots, anything bot we can do. I'm sure we can integrate Chat GTP in there somehow. Get movie recommendations maybe for 9-year-olds. That'd be a good channel.
I think we personally, I think we need a couple more channels. So I'd love to hear what other if people have ideas for.
Jeffrey
Yeah,
agreed.
Mr. Jeffrey agrees. More channels is better. I think there is an upper limit because then you can't find anything, and then
Right, and you don't know where you're allowed to post. You feel like you're putting stuff in the wrong place.
spot. But it's hard to. I do think like the general one. It's hard to have a bunch of different conversations happening at the same time. Also, I know we said you specifically said we're not going to be thread police, but I'm still figuring out Discord, and the replying and threading is two different things. It appears, and threads might even appear in the channel. So
the way I've never seen people use threads. Then I see people reply, and then it just shows you what they're replying to, but it doesn't nest it or anything.
Okay.
So I've never seen the threads in action in Discord. I know we do it in Slack. Steven says, I literally volunteered and you want a trivia bot. No, I don't want a bot. I'd love to have a human trivia host. I missed the part where you volunteered to be a trivia host.
See, that's the problem. We have too few threads here, or too few channels.
Well, then, no, we don't. Steven just put it in the wrong one because there's an ideas and suggestions channel. That would have been great for that one. But it wasn't there.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Well, anyway, Discord is developing. I think it'll keep getting better. But yeah, please just let us know what ideas you have. And we're going to eventually need moderators and staff types and all that. I even made a staff role for when we do. So if people want to do that, we don't need it yet. It's not that crowded yet. But, just this is a good thing. I think we have a whole month here of testing this out before we make a decision. So let's make the most of it.
Absolutely. And we should have a trivia night and that's hosted by someone else. And we should have all these things. I think that'd be great. And we could do it with the in the lounge even, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen these things done before. I've seen trivias. I've seen Name That Tunes. I've seen other games being played against other Discord servers. Like we could declare war on some kind of paleo server and like challenge them to something.
Oh, it's on. Bring it.
A lot of potential.
Jill says, more unpaid positions with Plant-Based Morning Shows.
Yeah. With no shortage.
It's weird. No one has ever taken us up on these unpaid positions.
No, they're not.
Can't imagine why. All right. Well, thanks everyone. It's been a long one.
Steven says he volunteered, or Jeff says that Steven volunteered in the YouTube or in YouTube. Okay, that's what it is.
No, he also volunteered in the Discord.
Okay.
I saw it earlier.
All right. I mean, that'd be fun. I would do that. Okay. All right. Good enough. Let's not go any longer today. We'll talk to anyone in the Discord, and otherwise we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, if you're still listening, the Plant-Based Kitchen sweepstakes is still going right now. There's another week or two for the sweepstakes. Go to lovecompliment.com, enter the chance to win up to $5,400 worth of kitchen appliances and gear and all kinds of cookbooks and all stuff. Check it out. It's free. No purchase necessary. We need a channel actually that allows us to promote compliment things in it and also give people special PBMS codes for compliment things. And we could put Helen's athletic brewing code there. What? Someone already said this? I literally suggested that to you this morning and you ignored my comment. Oh, well, I was busy this morning. I told you that. I haven't gone to that. Yeah. So anyway, we can do that. And I put the thing for if you want to promote your business in there or put your affiliate link or whatever, go do that in that channel where it's meant to be. And people might appreciate the chance to get some freebie stuff or whatever, discounts. Giveaway one too, Jill says. Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. We'll work on that stuff. Sorry, one more thing. Scott Mulholland says, tried the one from yesterday and it says invalid/expired. Someone else said that yesterday. Well, we could just generate a new one, Doug, and then put that in the redirect, right? Yeah. All right, we'll do that. I don't know if they really do expire like that, but it's possible. So if it's not working, just try it again in a minute. Just DM us and we'll send you a link. Directly to. Yeah. Good. Okay, sounds good. Thanks everyone. We'll be back tomorrow and we'll see you in the Discord. Goodbye.